to Legends of Sports. I'm Mr. Nobody, and today we got an exciting show for you. We're going back, taking you back a few years ago to a guy that used to be a head coach, Jack Faulkner. Old school, head coach, head of player personnel, head of all kinds of stuff for the Rams. He bled blue and yellow. He was one heck of a good guy. And here he is, Jack Faulkner.
My name is Jack Faulkner. I'm administrator of pro personnel and football operations for the St. Louis Rams. I've been with the Rams this is around 35 years as a football coach, and then got into the administrative part of it and also front office stuff. I presently do the team ahead that we're going to play. They send the tapes to me, and I have all my equipment here, and I grade these tapes that come in to us. Like this is New Orleans. We're getting ready to play New Orleans, and I'm doing New Orleans defense right now from last year until we get a few games here in 1998, preseason games, so that I can give the coaches and the players an idea what a guy is, how big he is, and how strong, and things like that, and especially the backup people. The guys that are going to back up. If you're an offensive tackle, you know pretty much who the starter is, but it's the backup guy that he's got to know more about. So while he's in a game, if number 98 gets hurt, number 94 comes in, he better know a little bit about him, how big he is and how quick he is and things like that, things that he has to know about the personnel.
Jack, how did you get into football and coaching? How did it all start?
Well, I played at Miami of Ohio for Sid Gilman, and when he got the Cincinnati job, I took a high school job for about 2 months. And he got the University of Cincinnati job in 1949, and I joined him there at Cincinnati. And for 6 years, and then we moved to the Rams in 1955, and I've been with the Rams on and off since that time. I was with the Chargers, Los Angeles Chargers, into San Diego. Then I became the head coach of Denver Broncos for 62, 3 and 4. And then I went to the Vikings for one, came back to the Rams, and I went down to New Orleans for 5 years and back with the Rams again. It's been a long career, and I've loved every bit of it, and hope it lasts another 50 years.
What was the high point of your career?
Oh, probably. There's a lot of them, but I would say probably I was named Coach of the Year in Denver in 1962. That was probably a high point. But there's so many high points and you get to know a lot of good football players, a lot of good people. That's the thing that's important. They're not only good football players, but they're sound individuals. And I'm happy to see a lot of those guys are doing quite well in business or whatever endeavor they got into. So you see them all the time.
When you're scouting players, what do you look for?
Well, it depends on the position. Now, I just got back from San Francisco and Oakland watching the 49ers play. Let's see, who did they play? They played Miami. And let's say I picked out a tackle we're going to look at, and I'll just watch him all the way through, watch him warm up, watch all the things. I have about 5 guys or 6 guys on the 49ers to look at, maybe the same on the other team. So you got to look at them in warm up, see how they look, how big they are, and all we know the size and we know the speed. See how well they play in a game, how well they keep their composure when things go wrong, and those are the things that are thing. This is something too that younger kids can learn, how to maintain their poise during big games and how they act. How do they respond in critical situations? It starts in a little league. It's no different than we're playing in the National Football League. The game is the same.
What was the most difficult moment in your career, and how did you overcome it?
Well, probably the first time that in 1959, the Rams fired our whole staff, Sid Gilman and the rest of our staff, and it was really the first time I'd ever experienced that, and tried to think about the next day. I didn't have a job to go to. went back to work and got all my stuff together and start making some calls and then not losing your poise, so to speak, so that you just keep calling. I finally got a job right there with Sid Gilman. We started the Los Angeles Chargers. That was a terrific break for me then.
What advice would you give to a young man just starting out?
Well, I think the basic thing is if he's going to play, he's got to have some type of a guy helping him coach him, and don't overcoach the kid. Physically, he's got to be. I think it's important that they get a good, solid physical, and before they begin to play. I think that that's important. And then when they get into the program, into a program that is not too technical, and they want to be able to show what they actually, their physical talents will show up. I think a lot of times as you go by, and I know a couple times I went by some little league players and the coaches pounding them too much. And the most important thing is to learn the game of football. Learn how the field is laid out, learn all the angles that you can, and then let them go. Let them, and don't be overcoaching. I see that happening too often. They have too many plays. Even in professional football, I see coaches, they get in coaching meetings and they can put 40 plays up on the board. That's not hard to do, but the football player is the guy that's going to execute those things, and he can't remember all the type of things that they want. And that's why you see so many breakaway plays or a broken pass pattern or something. They forget what they're really supposed to do. And then they talk about the West Coast offense. Everything is decided on the number of steps the quarterback takes and when you have to make your cuts and all that stuff, and way the defense is playing, that you have to turn a go pattern into a hook, for instance. And I don't think they could teach the younger kids that yet, but eventually it would come on, and they'll learn it as they get into high school and go on and that. But I think it's important that they really want to play the game, that they want to love to play the game, and that's the only way it should be.
How important is an education?
Well, the education is the first thing that have to. I don't think a player should be out on a field unless he's really a good student. That's the most important thing. I talk to my grandsons about the same thing. You know, my grandson is 19 years old. I said, you know, he wants to go to college, and that's what he's got to do. But the education, the high school education, sets the tone for what you're going to be the rest of your life. I mean, you have to have a diploma to get a job. You can get any kind of job for minimum salary and all that, but you have to have a degree to be able to go and pursue something that you're going to need for the rest of your life. Football is a means to an end. Now they're making all kinds of money, which if you're going to play at a National Football League, the money is outstanding, obviously, if you're one of the top players. But to be able to do that, you've got to play high school, in Little League, and build away on it, and just execute as much as you can, as best as you can, and let your natural skills just flow out.
When it's all said and done, how would you like to be remembered?
Well, I want to be remembered as a good football coach. I think that's the most important thing, and you know, being a good person and talking to guys and helping some of the players that we've had over the years. That's important. I think that some of them need some help more than the others, but some that need help, I'd like to remember to helping them. We had a dire need fund. Charlie Cowan was very close to me, and we raised some money on a banquet and paid for his medical bills and all that. So those things are important to me.